enter your hearts today. You can ask Jesus Christ today.
I'm trying to, I'm,
And believe in the shed
okay.
blood of Christ. He shed his blood. He died for you.
We're spreading the seed of the word. The pearls before swine has to do with the deep things of the Father. We're just sharing the basic good news. The basic good news is the blood is shed for your sins. And even that comes with persecution. Doesn't matter how you preach it, doesn't matter who you preach it to, you're going to get persecuted. The world hates the truth. And
hallelujah, Jesus Christ is for you today. Jesus Christ, the risen Savior, is for you today. If you can hear the word of God and you still care about the things of God, then you will.
even Christ, when he was on this earth, even before Christ, when Christ walked the earth, he preached the word, he preached the truth, and then they killed him for it. So it's not. Yep.
Hallelujah to the glory of the Lord.
So we just preach the basics,
before the foundation of the world.
the deep things of the truth
You know,
belong
Jesus
to the righteous.
Christ is the Savior of all mankind.
Yep.
He's the Savior of all mankind. But you got saviors going on in there. You can't be in there and be a believer. He's the Savior of the righteous. But you got saviors going on in there. You can't be in there and be a believer.
Yes, he did. And we have him in within us, the Holy Spirit, too. And he tells us a lot of things about some of these people so that they might be saved. I've seen the Father work, and he tells us a lot of things about some of these people in the preaching so that they might be saved. I've seen the Father work.
The violence that's going to go on in that arena one day soon is going to hit the streets, and you're going to be surprised.
That came to him.
A lot of people are set off right now. A lot of people are upset. There's a racial tension in this town that you cannot deny.
Plus the prophets had to go out and preach it to everyone to give them a chance. He has to eat. Plus
And I want no
Shalom, brother.
going into that arena. Promotion of violence and your promotion of
Yes, Father. May signs and wonders be performed by your Ruach tonight that they cannot deny the Lord. Yes, Father. May signs and wonders
Christ, who also was known at one time as Yahushua. You cannot like a good fight and say that's control, social condition. You put a label on it, that's just control, aggressive behavior. Let me tell you what, any kind of aggressive behavior is aggression, no matter how you commercialize it, no matter how you package it, no matter how you promote it, no matter what spiritual measures are taken. Violence is violence, and you're causing your children to struggle, no matter what you say about it, no matter how official it is, no matter how organized it is. Jesus Christ is not about what comes. He is about what is the condition of your soul today. What is the condition of your soul today? Anybody can come over here. I invite you to get into the scripture with me. We will cover you to the glory of the Lamb of God, Yahushua, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I don't even want to come out here and do this, so I'm going to tell you about it. I do it because I get to the glory of the Lamb of God, Yahushua, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Both knees.
I'm gonna tell you what, I do because I want to come to salvation tonight.
War has just been declared against Russia.
Both knees.
War has just been declared against Russia.
War has just been declared against Russia. Where did you get that from?
Off-road desert farmer just
It's been reported by at least one outlet we've looked at.
War's just been declared against Russia.
The United States has declared war against Russia. Now, what do you think if this is true? If this is true, ought you not to speak what you do ought you to seek the Lord Jesus Christ now while he may be found, and to not wait another day. The day when you see this world against Russia, that the United States, that's correct, the United States,
I believe that's what it just said.
It's just been reported that the United States has declared war against Russia. You're going into that ballgame without Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior.
Look up Off the Grid Desert Farmer with Paul and Adriana. He's got two channels. It's hard to find. We'll find with that later.
Desert Farmer. Right, let's have a look.
Is going to win this war. What be sure that a does not come upon.
Where's he got that from? The declaration has been declared war against Russia.
It is a real possibility. Very soon.
Look it up in YouTube, Brother Richard.
As a train on man to help you out in the Jesus Christ.
If we weren't doing a live stream, I'd be posting it so you could find it, his channel.
So, somebody post that link to Off-Grid Farmer.
Yeah.
Off-Grid.
How do I do that without exiting the video?
Declared war against Russia, as it has been reported by one or two outlets. You're going to have to reconsider.
Do I have to exit the video?
Yes,
Yes, you do. Don't do it.
Okay.
We're going to verify that information, see if it's true, or if it's not a government psyop. Let me tell you what.
To be silent.
These games are a preparation for violence that's going to hit the streets.
Yep.
You cannot contain violence that organized, that is officiated any longer.
Okay. He doesn't always share links.
Are taking a huge bite by losing the teams they would not have lost you last year. And you're still going to stick with the loser.
Thank you, Brother Richard.
What is about to happen in the coming months? There's no recent uploads.
We have a British agent right next to us. He's going to try to probably disrupt or something. Maybe not succeed. Pray for his soul if he's able to be one.
No, I'm not Jesus. I am only a messenger of God. Proclaiming Jesus Christ. I am nobody's savior tonight.
DES.
I'm nobody's savior tonight. I don't want to be savior.
Does it?
For 1 minute. I don't know. But even you ladies out here tonight will go in and watch a boring game. You'll go watch violence. And you know what? You love something more from your husband.
Yeah, it's hard to find Paul and Adriana because they shadow ban him heavily. All the information he has is typically right on the money, right on with the truth. Well, something popped up, looked like Paul and Adriana.
Alright, let's have a look.
A headline popped up.
Let's have a look myself.
Thank you.
Research.
It's also possible that they psyoped it
Yeah.
by preventing his channel from picking up on it until just now. So that happens sometimes too.
The United States, according to one or two reports, has just declared war against Russia. I do not know what has happened in the world. I've been praying for you.
Today.
Come to Jesus Christ. I am fasting for you today, not to show you how good I am. I am trying. I care about you. Look at what you're doing yourself.
Live update, CNN.
If we are in World War III, if this nation has just entered World War III, like the reports are coming out, you may see it in the arena.
Very recent.
I don't know. You come out and tell me if you hear anything, and I'm going to tell you what, if this is true. Jesus Christ is at the door, but first and foremost, He is at the door of your heart and knocks. And knocks and says, if you come into me, I will dine with you, and you with me. I will be with you, and you will be with me. That's what Jesus Christ said about Himself. It's critical tonight to really wake up and smell the coffee tonight. We do not know if Russia will retaliate with a hypersonic missile, but Jesus Christ is going to return from above the clouds on the White House.
What are you going to do?
But Jesus Christ, if you're watching the way we got right now. Who's here from Boston?
Probably in different social media platforms. So today's latest.
Will stand up and resist the tide and come to Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and Master. This game is master.
On the different mainstream UK media, it says Russia's ready for negotiations. Well, I don't trust UK mainstream media.
I'm going to tell you what. Your money is your money. Your money is your money. You have freedom in America to do what you want with your money. I'm not going to tell you don't have freedom to do that in
Breaking
America.
news every 5 minutes.
But what's going to happen when you begin to lose your freedom with your money? And the government starts to demand things like microchips and more needle sticks in your arms and more
So
draconian measures
there's
of
nothing
self-identification.
new on that.
You're going to have a CO
Comment yourself.
passports on your phone in order
Can't
to get in there.
find any
And then
updates.
we're going to do take
Got to go to different platforms later. This is what I'm sharing.
Are you going to
In
take that
America.
tonight? Are you going to take the mark
This
of the beast?
is
Are you going to take the mark of the beast just to put into a ball game?
and let's just cut
Are
it short.
you? My soul is suffering for you tonight. And you might ask, why do you care about me? Because I care about your soul tonight.
Community.
I care about your soul tonight. I don't think that this is the game. I don't think this is just something for fanfare. I don't think preaching the gospel for fanfare. You're going in there. You're going in there. Your friends. You're going in there for your wants and your desires. Tonight.
And
If I get the
wars.
information correct, the United States has just declared war against Russia.
No, unless you can verify that, I wouldn't
Yep, it does say that 37 minutes ago. Breaking news, we're going to war with Russia or China, one or the other.
If the war declaration is official, that's one thing for sure. But I'm going to tell you what, tonight Jesus Christ stands at the door and knocks in your heart. There is much more time left before the
Let's do some
return of
digging
Christ.
on that.
And if you're a pastor out there coming to watch these games tonight, shame on you for that. You're leading a bad example. And if you're a parent taking your children home and leaving them at home, you're a bad example. You are. Turn the tide. You've been all about fun and games in America. You've been all about fun and games and talking and having fun, and a lot of you are still grown children. Either you could be 50 years old, 70 years old, you're still children, you're still childish. You're still thinking about the things of a child, you're acting like a child, you're speaking like a child, and you even believe that a good hockey fight is fun. It is fun. A good hockey fight is not fun. It's child's play.
Dick.
And if the United States has declared war against Russia, you're going to see real war. And it may come to these streets very soon. That's why Jesus Christ is the master of masters. He is the Lord over all the lords. He's the King of kings. And you serve for years. And you mock and you reject, or you just go on. Like it does not matter. It's going to matter. It's going to matter on the day of judgment night.
The fire
that's no election to you in the United States has declared war against Russia. Jesus Christ is our
I gotta tell you, I must be ice upon back in 03, you know, it's like he's a dust. What is he doing in there?
Last chance of peace before Putin launches massive winter offensive.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. What about I'm gonna bet Bruins plus 100. This is a fucking lock. Let's go.
No. It's time for him to believe in Christ now, right?
I believe in Christ.
No, you don't. What's in your heart and your mind telling you not to believe.
Okay, Russia's called upon US to come to take peace talks. At the same time, US is sending 15 rounds of weapons to Ukraine. A new report from Finland shows many of these weapons are winding up in the hands of known criminals.
I was just there for 6 months, about 2 months ago.
Yeah, I know. You were protesting that. Speech and talk on that.
I don't be on camera. Anybody object to being on camera? No, really.
You know, he does.
So you know Brandon.
He does know Brandon.
And I was there for 6 months preaching on
Not that Brandon.
and now I'm preaching to these students over here. And I'm gonna tell you what, you kids really need to understand something.
I'm a Bruins fan, not a Jesus fan.
Oh, you need? Okay, well,
Bruins ain't gonna get you into eternal life.
Baby, Boston sports.
Bruins aren't gonna get
Brad Marchand.
No, not only Messiah, Yahushua, or Jesus, but it is. What do you say?
United States
No,
Downshed
verse 14 whatsoever.
is a computer network that uses for battle operations.
Sacrifice dead rats?
Not yet basic military
Millions of dollars.
intelligence
And went
sources
straight to eternal damnation.
weapons stop for complete attack plans, Russian conflict, Ukraine attack plans,
Jesus Christ is
UK
Lord of
plans,
lords.
Barcelona.
Jesus Christ is King of kings, the Lord of lords, and the master of all masters. This is not a joke. I am not here as part of your sideshow. I am not here for any other reason but to call you to repentance tonight. I'm calling you to repentance by faith in Jesus Christ. You're not, sir. No, I don't take photos. Please don't do that. I don't like that. I'm serious about the gospel. Okay? I'm here for your soul.
We're recording the preaching.
You're going in and watching a hockey fight.
Yes. I'm open.
I'm going to tell you what, when Jesus Christ goes to the judgment seat, you're not going to have a fight. He's going to pull you right in, and he's going to count your deeds. How is he going to be found? Remember, by the shed blood of Jesus Christ, marking him to like fire. Which one is it, guys? Okay, please, you can sit over there and listen, but there are other people who might be more serious about the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm not here for a night show.
And also can be misinformation. Can't find a reliable source right now to look it up.
My confession of faith is what the Bible says about Jesus Christ. He is, was, and always will be. He is the eternal Son of God, and He is God. In fact, He is the wonderful Counselor, the mighty God, the Prince of Peace, everlasting Father. That's what the Bible says about Jesus Christ.
Propaganda.
He can be your father tonight. He can be your savior. He can be your master. He can take over your life and lead you not into wealth and riches, not to lead you into more of what you already have, because that's what's killing you tonight. Your prosperity that you perceive you have is killing you tonight. You're wasting your time on a game that's going to pass away, and the Boston Bruins are going to win tonight. And you're going to walk out there with a frown on your face.
Go Bruins!
There's no independent source yet.
No, Jesus. It's about Jesus, God. You know what? I don't have a penny to my name. And a lot of you are going to laugh at me because I don't have a penny
US
to my name
concerned
and nowhere to stay.
Iran,
But that's soon going to change. Because the eternal kingdom of Christ is wealth. The New Jerusalem is wealth. And that's where I am headed if I endure and I don't fall into the trap that you've fallen into. That doesn't make me any better than you.
Saudi Arabia's told
I'm
US
pretty
its
concerned
reason
about
it's
your
going
thoughts, and I hate
to
you.
on targets in the kingdom is in the Wall Street Journal reported. According to the journal, the US, Saudi Arabia, and some other countries in the region have raised readiness level of their units. Earlier, the terrain accused the US and Britain and Israel and Saudi Arabia for organising protests in the country. 1st November 2022, 6 o'clock in UK time. That was posted on the website.
Are you just looking? I feel hockey still is the bad.
Women in the Middle East.
Dude, I'm sorry. It's not CG Trump. He's telling us not to
who are doing it for a career, making $1 million a year, $5 million, because they don't think of it as a game, they think of it as a business. You think of it as a game.
It's entertaining. Are you a Bruce fan? No.
I'm a fan of Jesus Christ, and I'm not a fan of Jesus Christ. I am a son of Jesus.
Grab motion, second.
No, I cannot do that. No, take a photo of me, please. I'm not here for a sideshow. I'm not here to be the opening act of your hockey match. I want you all to come to Jesus Christ. Time is ticking till the bomb strike America. The United States has reported to my knowledge. And you know, if the report I received is not true, that'll be fine for you. I'm going to tell you what tonight is your night to make a decision.
Can say something.
The return of Jesus Christ is very short now. If this world war breaks out in America,
Here where my mouth is
coming to call you to repent.
watch this. Here it is. Look at these objects here. Look at this objects here around.
From this wicked and perverse generation, sanctioned violence is still violence. Sanctioned worship is still false worship. It is worship of an idol.
And the other one is here.
Worship of an idol. It's not just competition. Sanctioned competition
This is
is
so
still
good.
a form of pride for which
You'll see
one
now
will fall.
The real
You choose
deal.
the players make your money.
There are many of them here.
And that is the truth.
But let me go to the
You pay them
the
for
moment
the
when this huge illumination is spread
idolatry and a worship of false idols. And Jesus Christ came to this world to die for you.
Woman, look at this light here.
So that you may escape the wrath of God.
This all should be
I
done
am not here to be cute.
normal,
I'm
like
not here for a sideshow. I am here for your soul tonight.
that is
Keep it on me. I am here for your soul tonight. I am here for you to repent to Jesus Christ. No, you turn around
Here
and
it is.
walk to
This is
your
what
prayer
I'm talking
closet.
about.
This
This here
and count it
is
lost and experience
watch
the
how
gain
the Lord pray by prayer.
of eternity that
As you can
Jesus
see,
Christ
it's
has
immediately
offered.
gone. Something very fast is
You're not
passing
happy.
the camera. Watch this.
You're not happy.
Look at this
Your
incredible
marriages are
life
tearing
that's
apart.
illuminating everything. Now this life is going
cannot keep
away.
together a marriage.
Everything
A
becomes
day
red.
cannot
And
keep
then
your
we got
children
this.
unified to you. Only Jesus Christ can
On the
fill
screen,
your
after this light is gone, on the right side of the screen, and now pay attention how the
So now-
light will be present as a second sun. And another object is here.
If something goes on tonight or any other night where they lock down the
Wait, I will pay a bit. And I will show you now.
Superdome when a hurricane came.
Watch this here in just a moment. We go to the. This is the end of the day.
And you're walking
This is the end of the day. Is this a sign? Is his prophet? This is the sign.
before you went to this game. Jesus Christ is my shelter. Jesus Christ is my fortress. He is everything to me.
In the middle of the day, illuminating the whole area.
Everything to you. What's everything to you? Let me ask you a question. Is the Savior of all mankind your everything? Is the Savior of all mankind the one you want to worship? Or is that what you want to worship? What are you going to do?
You got a point there? But we say if. We've been saying a lot of if words. We say we don't know if we even make it clear that
of the evil things that this world has offered. Jesus Christ and eternal life is a narrow road. It is not
point there.
narrower than American Christianity has made itself out to be.
We've been saying a lot of if words.
American Christianity is the greatest embarrassment to the whole world in all of history, including during the Roman Empire. American Christianity is going to be the most harsh, judged religion in the entire world. Jesus Christ is not into a one-world religion. He is a highway or he's the highway.
Hit the low road. Because there's only one way, and we're walking his ways.
Jesus Christ, and you choose not to have him as your Savior. The time clock is ticking, and it's ticking. If the United States has third war against Russia tonight, and these reports I'm hearing are true, not correct my wrong, but if they are true, and you get stuck in that arena tonight, and they declare martial law in this country, you're from your children. And you call your children your husband and your wife and your children. And you will obey your children in the law. Even if you take it to the grave, you don't want to do that. Jesus Christ wouldn't abandon you if you were sinning and believing. He wouldn't leave you and forsake you if you would only believe in his mighty name. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. You get stuck in that arena tonight, and these hockey players one day be no more. And is over, you're going to forget about it. You will remember them beyond. If your players switch teams to you, they have switched loyalties. And if they are not on your team, you hate them, you boo them, and you jeer at them. That's what the Bible calls revelry. They are works of the flesh for which no one will inherit the kingdom of Christ. Jesus Christ is the Savior of all mankind. He doesn't play defense. I have the weapons of war, which are not carnal, but mighty in God.
For every argument that rises against us.
Against every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Hallelujah. We're not on your team. It's a hard night for me. It's a hard night for me that you would continue to walk on by and not believe in the shed blood of Jesus Christ for your atonement. Instead of you accepting Jesus Christ's atonement, you man the atonement of sin. Yeah! You don't want atonement, you demand it for yourself. The shed blood atonement covering of Jesus Christ doesn't require money. I don't care what your TV pastor tells you. It does not require money. It requires your heart, soul, and mind.
And the whole strength.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. How are you loving your neighbor as yourself? You don't even love the hockey players you're going to go see. You're paying them, and you're making you tonight. You think I'm taking that too seriously? Oh, there's nothing wrong with a good hockey fight. Well, what's the hockey fight to the street? And you just call a hockey game. There's a little different street fight than a hockey fight out here. Right there. What kind of standard are you going to put on fire? Because it's sanctioned, because it is.
The whole strength.
What you're doing to entertain yourself is not a good bargain. You then gain the whole world, and you still lose his soul. This game that you pay $100 or $200 a ticket for, this game is not a bargain. It's not a bargain. I want to become involved in this bargain, not of God.
Not of life, but of death.
This arena is not of God. That hockey game is not of God. Why would you go to something that is not of God if you're calling yourself a Christian nation? If you're calling yourself a Christian today, how is God in there all God? So by the stripes of Jesus Christ, you can heal. By his stripes, I was healed. By his stripes, he was healed. By the stripes of Jesus Christ. Hallelujah. Play that shofar. The judgment is coming real soon. The judgment of God is coming real soon. Believe in Christ of Nazareth, or the fires of hell are coming near you. The fire of hell is coming near you. You are walking in the fires of hell. And there's the thing over there trying to do a magnification. The Fires of Hell and the Flames of Hell. There's the band over there that's going to come into the arena to start out the game. Please give us your thumbs up on YouTube. But understand it's a very serious situation right now. If it is true that the United States
If
the judgment is coming right now. The judgment of God is coming right now. For the fires of hell are coming at you. The fire of hell is coming at you. You are walking in the fire of God. We worship Jesus Christ in spirit. We worship Him in truth. Arena to start out the game. Please give us your thumbs up on YouTube. It's a very serious situation right now. You are giving into the carnality of your basest, most evil desires. Just because you work a job and you pay money for a ticket, and that all this is sanctioned, it's controlled, it's refereed, it's officiated, and it's a business, does not make it any less barbaric. This is a I tirelessly preach the gospel all over this town. I was last in Morgantown, and before that, I was in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I was in Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia, and I'm here today. Among many other towns I've been in, preached at many college campuses and many schools, and it is no different. You can wear a different uniform. You can wear a different look and a different color. Your heart is still one color without Jesus Christ. Your heart is not a color. It is a condition, and that condition is called tireless. Gospel all over this town. Sinners in a dark world. I was in Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia. When a man gets excited about a game you're going to lose tonight. The Bruins have only won one loss. You have 4 losses or 5 losses, and your record is even Steven. But you're going, would you die? Would you die a fan of the Pittsburgh Penguins if they won no game? You would tell me you would. And I tell you, being a die-hard fan is a way to die hard and fast and loose. Jesus Christ is the Savior of all mankind. And He came to shed His blood to die for you. He gave His life as the Savior of all mankind by shedding His blood. And He rose from the dead. If Jesus Christ did not rise from the dead, why preaching is not in vain if I don't fit in no mold. If I once lived the way you live, I once walked in the lust of the Gentiles, fulfilling the desires of the flesh, according to the dictates of the evil mind. You don't know your Bible even if you go to church because your pastor doesn't know the Bible. Jesus Christ is the Savior of all mankind. And you must believe in Him today. You can't die with your television set believing in the Boston Bruins or the Penguins. You know what a penguin is? A penguin has a wobbly walk. You're walking wobbly. You're walking shaky. You're walking in pain. You're walking with fall. You don't want your trying to get a magnification on. I'm starting to enter the game. Video on YouTube. This is Meta.me. You look it on. Join your men. Radio shop. Now we need White Stone. And we are here to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Before it is too late for you. Your time is really getting short. Your time is shrinking. You're strong and healthy.
The U.S. military has put its forces in the Middle East on high alert for an attack on Saudi Arabia by Iran. Okay, and so Saudi Arabia shared some intelligence with the U.S.
That's what
that
I read.
apparently Iran is preparing to attack Saudi Arabia. So the U.S. has put its forces on high alert in the Middle East, okay? Guys, that is just absolutely massive news, okay? The U.S. is not putting its forces on high alert for no reason, okay? They're putting them on high alert in case they have to actually deploy and get involved and attack Iran possibly, okay? So this is just very serious news, emergency alert. The U.S. military has put its forces in the Middle East on high alert
There you go.
after Saudi Arabia shared intelligence that Iran is going to be attacking them soon, okay? Possibly soon. So let's hope and pray that that doesn't happen. But very ominous news. So we also have some interesting developments in Ukraine and Russia. We have Moscow now preparing bomb shelters for nuclear war. And we also have Kiev preparing fallout shelters and bomb shelters for nuclear war as well. Okay. So we also have the Serbian military being put on high alert as a result of some situation in Kosovo. The president of Serbia has put the Serbian army on high alert, or the Serbian military on high alert. North Korea is threatening South Korea because of continued military drills with the United States. So just so much going on, guys. I want to just get through all this news with you, but just so much going on here today, and I really have a bad feeling that something is going to happen soon, within the next couple of weeks, and possibly sooner than that. We'll have to wait and see, but I just have a really bad feeling. We also have the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, saying that if Ukraine wins the war, then Russia would retaliate with nuclear weapons, that if Ukraine takes back all the territory that Russia occupied, that it would violate Russia's territorial integrity, and it would be a reason to use nuclear weapons against Ukraine, okay? So just so much going on here, guys. Lots and lots of news here. So I want to just start with some flight paths, and we had 3 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air today. Okay, 3. That is very, very unusual to have that many up in the air. Normally, you would see 1 every day up until about a month ago. When the invasion started, they started sending these nuclear warplanes up in the air every single day. Around the clock, there was 1 plane in the air every day. And just in the last 3 weeks, I would say, the military has been putting up 2 of them every single day. And today we have 3 in the air, okay? And before the war started, before Russia invaded Ukraine, you would see these planes maybe once every 2 days or so. So for there to be 3 in the air today, planes, that's just a theory that it's not proven that that's what the military did, but if they did do that, then that's a huge sign that they're preparing for something. I personally think that Putin is going to use nuclear weapons on Ukraine. I just have a really bad feeling about it, because the war's not going his way, and there's just no way that he can win conventionally against the entire Western world, which has more equipment, more money, and better equipment to give to Ukraine. So Ukraine basically has unlimited resupply, and the Western world just has much more money and resources to give to Ukraine, and Russia just can't compete with that. So at some point, Putin is going to realize that, and he's just going to use nuclear weapons in a desperate attempt to try to basically beat Ukraine. So here's 1 nuclear warplane. This is a Boeing E-6B Mercury. This is a nuclear war command and control plane. I had someone comment on my video yesterday and made a comment that, oh, why are these planes up in the air if they're nuclear? Well, these are nuclear warplanes. They're not nuclear planes, okay? So they don't have any nuclear weapons or nuclear material that would be hazardous. These are just for communications purposes. They issue launch orders to the ballistic missile subs and to our ground-based nuclear-armed ICBMs. Okay, so that's their main job, is just to issue the launch orders to our ballistic missiles, our nuclear weapons. Okay, and the purpose of them is in case all ground-based command and control gets wiped out, they could still use these to issue the launch orders. Okay, so here's one. This one was flying over Nebraska, and it had an interesting flight path. It looks like it took off from the Omaha area, and this is where STRATCOM is, Strategic Command. This is the most important military base in the whole country. Okay, this is where the U.S. military commands. That's the brain of the U.S. military right there. Okay, they command everything from STRATCOM.
Basically, Moscow is preparing the fallout shelters for nuclear bombs if Ukraine wins, and they will retaliate. This got some idiot shouting outside my window. Blokes coming around drunk to female platform. Right, basically, emergency alert. Let me show you the channel. Go and check it out. I read this in a different platform. I was screen sharing. Someone's in America, pastors, street preaching. So I've got to get off full screen. That would help. Okay. I've read this similar down, and I'll go back to it in a minute. That's what it says, and what I'm going to get up is the actual article. Let's see if I actually got it. Here it is. Okay. US concern about Iran threats. Saudi Arabia has told the US that it believes an attack on Iran on targets in the kingdom is intermediate right away. The Wall Street Journal reported. Now let's have a look at Wall Street Journal. See if there's an update in Wall Street Journal. USA paper. Breaking news headlines. Wall Street Journal. Yeah. Let's just see if it's actually. Here we go. Saudi said Tehran wants to distract from the protests. The National Security Council said the US prepared to respond. Yeah, so in America time, that was, I don't know what it is, UK time it would be. So that was 10 to 5 in the evening. Saudi Arabia has shared intelligence with the US, warning of intimate attack from Iran on targets in the kingdom, putting the American military and others in the Middle East on at high extreme alert level, said Saudi US officials in response to the warning. The Saudi Arabia and US and several other neighbouring states have raised the level of alert for their military forces and officials. They didn't provide more details. They didn't provide more details on the Saudi intelligence. If you want to read more, you have to pay. So Russia retreated its bases. So you've got I don't know. That's a video. Washington, and I think that's an Arab. Don't know his name. They need each other, and with benefit of Biden and Mohammed bin Salman, I think it's called, quieted down for a while. So that was today's article on the same website. There you go. The Crown Prince, that's what it is. The welcomes an image back in July this year. Silence is golden, said to be an old Arab proverb. This is good advice to both the US and Saudi governments if they are to preserve any possibility of salvaging a security relationship. More important now when it began 8 decades ago. The West is invested in the war in Ukraine. Could easily become embroiled in new hot conflicts with China and Iran before President Biden's term ends. Oil prices in the US are roughly $90 a barrel and could double if Russia decides to stop pumping oil or if Europe carries out its threat to ban imports of Russia's crude oil by sea after the 5th of December 2022. You see, Saudi Arabia, they're extremely wealthy, aren't they, with the oil? So that's where the two articles come from. And I'll carry on with this and I'll come back. First of all. So like they're going to pour into the Third World War. Bankers' wars. Who makes going to pour into the Third World War? Who makes any profit from this? Bankers' wars. Who makes going to pour into the Third World War? Answer the thumbs up. Who makes any profit from this? So I'm just going to background all this stream. So bear with me. A spiritual war, this is, you know, on earth, the end of times. So, just going back to just checking thing. So, I'll go back to finishing off the channel. You want to go and he must have some kind of military, ex-military or contacts in military in America, and what he's describing is very good. So let me just see, put anything prior to that video up. Okay, so that's a channel. Some very useful information as well. And then he's got a website. Yeah, very good information. Really well put together. So, World War III alert, US is moving aircraft carriers. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? You can guarantee that. It's got some very helpful skills. It seems like you must have ex-military background or something. This is really do recommend. I myself got a couple of things. This guy is a young guy, so it seems like he's got ex-military skills. And the shift and survival. He's got a playlist on that, and I would recommend, in my opinion anyway, even in UK version. And also Tech Protect Faraday Cage EMP. You know, you just don't know, do you? So it definitely does. He's built up his channel with his skills. We don't have, lawfully, we don't have firearms in England. But under the dark, whoever does dodgy stuff, you never know what goes on. £12 at night, really? We got that bloke outside. My safety, they're gonna watch my safety now, dear. Okay, they come to my bloody block of flats. This is called gaslighting. This is what I go through every bloody day. He doesn't live here, and they know the code to get in. 12 o'clock at night. Every bloody night I go through this. Day and night, actually. O'Connor does not live here, and is with his large build male friend. And they just walk straight in the hallway where I live. Putting my safety at risk because they've been kicking off all the bloody days. I've had to go out on the day, what, get away from it. Bloody days, I've had to go out on the day, what, get away. Do you hear all that? That's the main back door. You can't come in, two mates that don't live here, and are being diverted deliberately. Because I'm quoting about what's going on here. Psychological tactics they're doing. Right. Keep to the point now. Alright, so this article before. This YouTube.
Are you concerned by the state of our economy, society, and freedom?
It's about to collapse. The economy is about to go.
What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NY Prepper. It is Monday, October 31st, 2022, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. So I wanted to update you on Ukraine. We have some breaking news. Apparently, U.S. military inspectors have arrived in Ukraine to keep track of U.S. weapons and equipment that have been sent to Ukraine. So these inspectors are official U.S. military personnel, and they would be the first U.S. military troops or personnel to actually enter Ukraine since the war started. Okay? So very ominous news, guys. I wanted to just share this with you. So basically, these inspectors were sent by the military to keep track of all the weapons that the United States has been sending to Ukraine, billions and billions.
Okay, yeah, even UK's been funding it. Certain things, but I'm not up to date with the UK version. So this is the one I was just trying to share, and I'll just finish up with that. NY Prepper. So there you go.
Stratcom, and it's located at Offutt Air Base. And Offutt Air Base is above ground, but there's a huge bunker underground, and that's where Stratcom is. So this one took off from Omaha, which is near Stratcom, and you can see it did some loops here in western Nebraska, and this is actually where we have some of our missiles stored in ICB in silos. This is a missile field here. And then it went south, and it did a loop over Colorado. And then it went back, so interesting there. Here we have another nuclear war plane, nuclear war command and control plane. And this one took off from New Hampshire, and it flew along the Atlantic coast, and it went out into the ocean, and it must have done some loops out in the ocean here, which is very interesting. And then it came back, and it landed at Patuxent Air Base or Airfield, okay, on the Chesapeake Bay, and that was just a little while ago. Here's another one. This one took off from Tinker Air Base in Oklahoma City and did a big loop over Nebraska, Colorado, and then it came back. So 3 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air today. Very unusual. Here we have a P-3 Orion that is out in the Pacific outside of LA. This is very interesting. This is a sub-hunting plane. These. Okay, so very interesting. We also have Russian airborne command posts active. Okay, all of these planes that you see here are Russian airborne command posts. So these are used by the Russian military to command their nuclear arsenal and their military, very similar to our nuclear war command and control planes that I was just showing you. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Okay, that is just a lot. All right, you can check for yourself. If you don't believe me, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Tupolev Tu-214 PU planes and 2 Ilyushin. 1 Ilyushin 96-300 and then an Ilyushin 96-400 VPU. So these are again Russian nuclear war command and control planes and airborne command posts. Okay, and that was today, just a few hours ago. And here we have actually one of these is a Russian doomsday plane for the Russian president. We have more of these airborne command posts for the Russian military outside of Moscow. Okay, so something is going to be going down soon, guys. We also had those nuclear drills just 2 weeks ago. NATO and also Russia had nuclear war drills. Okay, so just crazy situation, guys. You know, and Iran possibly about to attack Saudi Arabia. You know, it's possible that Russia and Iran and North Korea and China, they all sat down together and they said, well, let's open up another front for the Americans. You know, let's have Iran attack Saudi Arabia now, which is going to distract the American military away from Ukraine. Or how about if North Korea were to attack South Korea? That would distract the American military away from Ukraine. So they're all working together, guys. North Korea China, Russia, Iran, they're all in an alliance, and they're all working together. So they're all coordinating their efforts to maximize, the effects against the West. So I want to read to you what the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, said on his Telegram. So he basically threatened that if Ukraine wins the war, that Russia would be justified to use nuclear weapons against Ukraine. So I'm going to read to you exactly what he wrote on Telegram. All right, he wrote here, the well-known thesis of Western countries, Russia cannot be allowed to win the war. What does it really mean? Follow the simple, formal logic. If not Russia is winning, then probably Ukraine. The goal of Ukraine in the war was named by Kiev regime, the return of all territories that previously belonged to it. That is their rejection from Russia. This is a threat to the existence of our state and the disintegration of the current Russia. And that means a direct reason for the application of Clause 19 of the fundamentals of state policy of the Russian Federation in the field of nuclear deterrence. Okay, so he's basically saying that if Ukraine returns all the territories back to itself, okay, takes back the annexed regions, that it would be a reason for Russia to launch nukes at Ukraine or possibly NATO or the United States, okay, because it would be a threat to the existence of Russia as it exists now, okay?
If you suffer from joint pain or arthritis, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this, and this to this, and even this.
So just absolutely crazy, guys. We're also getting word that Russia is now declaring mandatory evacuation of the Novokakhovka district. Okay, Novokakhovka is where Russia has their water supply for Crimea. It's right across from Kherson. And the Russians are now expanding their evacuation to Novokakhovka. And it's a mandatory evacuation, so it looks like Ukraine is going to be coming through that area very soon, and they're going to have a huge victory, and that's when we really need to be on high alert for Russia to do something crazy, possibly invade from Belarus again, possibly go after Lviv and try to cut off the flow of Western weapons, or Putin may just use nukes, But I personally believe that Putin is trying to exhaust all his options first before going nuclear. But it is something we need to be prepared for, okay? I have 45 videos on nuclear war survival. All right, check out my nuclear war survival playlist. I'll leave a link in the top right corner of this video. But I've done 45 videos on nuclear war survival, okay? And I have a whole series on how to survive nuclear war. And I'm going to be adding to that series very soon. Probably this week I'll try to add a few more videos to that series. But you need to know what to do if there's a nuclear war. Okay, it might not be a full-scale nuclear war. It could be a limited nuclear war. Okay, Russia could, let's say, launch a couple of nukes at Europe and America. And then we launch a few back. And then both sides say, okay, that's enough, we've done enough damage, and it may just end there, okay? If you live in Ukraine and you're watching me from Ukraine, you need to know what to do in case of a nuclear attack, okay?
Exactly.
I'm a very optimistic person. I hope that Ukraine wins the war, but, there is a very good chance that Putin is going to lose his mind when he sees Ukraine taking back this territory that he spent so much effort trying to take. And I just don't think he's going to be able to control himself, and I think he's going to do a launch of nuclear weapons on Ukraine if he loses a significant chunk of territory, okay? And I'm not just talking about Kherson. I'm talking about if the Ukrainians continue to nibble away and they start to take significant territories back, then it's definitely going to be a reason for him to use nukes, okay? So I want to read to you about these bomb shelters and fallout shelters in Kiev and in Moscow. First, I'm going to start with Kiev, okay? So this is being reported by a Ukrainian news outlet. In the Kiev region, there are 425 special shelters being prepared in case of a nuclear attack by Russia. In the next 2 weeks, they want to equip them with portable radio receivers with batteries. According to head of the Kiev Regional Military Administration, Alexei Kuleba, in an interview with Hromadske. When asked how the Kiev region prepares for nuclear attacks, Kuleba noted that the past 8 months have taught us that anything can happen. Therefore, as an official, he prepares for the worst-case scenario but hopes that everything will be fine. The issue of shelters has not been raised for the past 30 years, but in the last 5 months, everything is completely different. He asks people not to approach it formally. Okay, so in Ukraine, they're basically guys. They're building fallout shelters for their people. They're putting radios in them. We should be doing the same thing here in the United States. You should have a fallout shelter. If you don't have one, you should know where to go and find fallout shelters in your area. And I'm not talking about formal fallout shelters. I'm talking about improvised fallout shelters, okay, structures that you can use as a fallout shelter, like basements of apartment buildings, basements of offices, underground parking garages, metros, subway tunnels. I've talked about it. I did an entire video where I went to a city near me, and literally within 1 hour of walking around, I found half a dozen buildings that I could use to protect myself from radiation, okay? Because for most people, radiation is going to be the biggest killer, not so much the blast and the heat, unless you're very close to the detonation point, okay? But, they're very smart in Kiev that they're putting radios in there too. So I'm going to read to you what Alexei Kuleba said. He's the head of the Kiev Regional Military Administration. He said, "We have 425 special shelters in the region. They are located underground, have 2 entrances and 2 exits, and ventilation. In total, there are about 1,000 shelters in the region. The easiest is the basement floor. There, the windows face the street, but half. They are not suitable for protection against the radiation threat. It is clear that, first of all, a person should go to shelter. The second step, the most important, should be communication. If there is a nuclear attack, then most likely there will be no communication. The only thing that will work is the radio. Therefore, portable radios with batteries should be equipped everywhere so that the signal can be received, because information will be the most important thing. This is the only way people will be able to find out what needs to be done next." All right, so he's saying 425 special shelters in Kiev, and they're located underground. So, they literally have bomb shelters, guys. They have legit bomb shelters that would protect people from not only radiation, but from the blast, okay? And he's saying that you can go into the basement floor, but if the windows are facing the street, then they're not suitable for radiation. And he's right about that, but all you have to do is just cover those windows up with some dirt. Okay, you get yourself a shovel and just pile up dirt around those windows and seal them off with about 2 to 3 feet of dirt. Okay, and pack that dirt in good. If you have sandbags, you can stack the sandbags up. That shouldn't be hard to find in Ukraine. There's no shortage of sandbags there. You can bring some sandbags over and stack them up. Stack up a few rows of sandbags so you have at least 2 to 3 feet of thickness of sandbags. And that'll block the radiation from getting in through the windows, okay? I'm going to just keep reading what he said here. When asked whether these 425 facilities are already equipped with receivers, Kuleba replied, "Not yet. However, we urgently want to equip them by November 15." Okay, so within 2 weeks, they want to have these shelters equipped with radios. So guys, they're planning for Russia to do something crazy very soon. Okay, the Ukrainian government is readying their shelters by November 15. So this could happen, you know, by the new year. We could have a nuclear attack on our hands on Ukraine, okay, and possibly a global nuclear conflict. So make sure you're prepared. I know it sounds far-fetched, and I'm not trying to scare you guys, but, you know, have some preparations. Check out my nuclear war videos. I'm not saying you should panic or do anything crazy, but just have some basic understanding of how to protect yourself and have some basic items, okay? If there's a nuclear attack, whether it's on Ukraine or if it's a global nuclear conflict, you have to stay sheltered for up to 2 weeks. So you need enough water, you need enough food, you need a way to manage your sanitation. Okay, make sure you have all those things, all right? If you cannot survive the first 2 weeks after a nuclear attack, you're not going to make it. The first 2 to 3 days after a nuclear attack are the worst. That's when the fallout radiation is the highest, and it breaks down exponentially via the 7-10 rule. Okay, so after 2 weeks, the radiation is going to be 1,000 times less. But the first day or two, the radiation is going to be tremendously high to the point where if you're outside for just a few minutes, you're going to get a lethal dose of radiation. All right, so you need to be sheltered properly at least the first couple of days. But you need to have food, water, and ways of managing your sanitation for up to 2 weeks in case you have to stay down there for 2 weeks, which is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to stay down there for 2 weeks. After the first couple of days, you can go out for a short period of time, but you're still going to have to stay in your shelter majority of the time, okay?
How do you fancy winning this Yamaha RD400 iconic classic two-stroke? It's funny in the Kenny Roberts.
Alright, we'll go to his playlist on this. Oh, dear Lord. Oh. Oh. Yeah. I'll come back to this one. There's a lot of bloody microwave radiation going on down here. Yeah. Should have got a cup of tea. Oh. No, I don't have a cold either. Let's try again. Yeah. I don't normally have any sneezes either. Right. It's getting cold at night as well. I'll just quickly have a look at any. I do believe he's got a playlist, so thought I saw it earlier. Let's have a look. Right, you got the shift and survival section. Playlist. Let's have a look. Not gonna play it. Just gonna say, especially winter. It's got some bloody good things actually. Definitely was. It seems like he was in the military. Maintaining hygiene in cold weather, yes, point. Essential items for survival. Bug-in gear supply is, I know that, but I don't know if it's anything to help with radiation. I have to look at it oneself. Winter preparedness critical wood processing tools to be outside this. It seems like he's got definite military skills himself.
What's going on, guys? It's New York Prepper here. I just wanted to do a video about cold weather gear and gear that you might need for bugging out during the winter time, or getting home during the winter time, or gear that you would need or you would want to have during an SHTF situation if it goes down during the winter. As you can see, I have an assortment of gear. This is all of my cold weather gear. Actually, it's not all of it, but it's most of it, and you can see it's quite extensive. It's a big inventory of gear. I've spent a lot of time and money building this gear up. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you about the different types of gear that I have and why I have them, and you know, my recommendations to you guys for being prepared for the winter time. So that way, if there's some type of a disaster, an SHTF situation, you're prepared to handle it during the winter. You know, because cold temperatures and deep snow can make it very difficult to do anything if there's an SHTF situation, or if you're stuck, if you're bugging in, or there's some type of a disaster. You need to make sure you have the proper gear so you can move around outside, you know, during cold temperatures. So I'm just gonna break down all the gear that I have, and I hope you enjoy the video and learn a few things. All right, guys, stay tuned. All right, guys. So it's a little bit hard for me to get everything onto the camera just because it's such a tight little space here, and I have a lot of gear laid out. So I'm gonna try to go through all my stuff and explain to you why you need these different types of gear, and you know, all the gear that you see here I crafted myself in extreme conditions, in, you know, single digits or colder temperatures. So I know that it works. I've gone through deep snow and everything. So the important thing is you want to make sure that you test your gear, you know, and you want to make sure, especially when it comes to cold weather, you want to make sure that you test your cold weather gear, because you don't want to find out, you know, once you're out there in the elements that, you know, your shoes are not warm enough, or, you know, they're too tight and you're not getting blood flow to your toes, or, your jacket is getting too sweaty and you start getting chilly because of that, or your waterproofing is not that good on your pants. You know, all these little things you're not going to find out until you actually put your gear on and test it out, you know, go out in the elements, you know, in deep snow, you know, in a blizzard, you know, in the forest, you know, across different terrain. You want to test your gear as much as possible in different conditions, different types of terrain, you know. This way you know what it's capable of, and you know that it's, whether it's going to be adequate or not for an SHTF situation. And why would you need gear for an SHTF situation? Well, first of all, it could be for bugging out. You know, if you have to bug out on foot, let's say you have to evacuate from your home, or you have to walk home from work and you live far away from your job, and you may have to hike, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 miles, and it's, you know, 15 degrees outside and there's a foot of snow on the ground, or, you know, let's say, you know, you're driving home somewhere and you run into a blizzard and you get stuck on the side of the road, and, you know, you want to make sure you have cold weather gear with you in those situations so you can make it home safely on foot if you have to. Another thing too is if you're bugging out on foot, let's say you're escaping to your bug out location and you have to hike there, or, you know, whatever the situation is, you need to have cold weather gear for that. And, you know, another thing too is, you know, also if you're bugging in, or if there's a disaster or a blizzard, you know, you need to have cold weather gear in case you got to go outside and do different types of tasks, you know, whether it's gathering firewood, whether it's...
I'll pause it there. Just got a notification, something else similar.
Only a few days left, less than a week, until things could really hit the fan, majorly hit the fan, all right? And we've seen what happens when this happens in other countries. Places like Venezuela have been devastated, absolutely devastated. And they are even being devastated right now, currently, all right? In the past, though, they've had numbers 300,000% inflation, all right? 300,000%, not 300%, not 30, not 3%, 300,000% inflation. I can't even imagine what the numbers for that would be. I mean, like, if you have $1, some of the field is totally shutting down and is not able to supply itself with the medicine and the equipment and the supplies that it needs, right? So the FDA has officially reported that there are massive shortages of amoxicillin, right? So this is an antibiotic used for children mostly, for infections.
Well, no, all this is going to happen.
We are going to see other antibiotic shortages. We're antibiotics so much, but now we are having a shortage, and a lot of the supply chain is tied to China, right? Files. And we're not even releasing them to the United States. We're releasing them onto world markets as well. A lot of it is going to China. They did tracking. I can't even imagine how our leaders put us in this situation. This is supposed to be for a massive war, right? This is supposed to be for a national emergency in case something happens, like the energy grid goes out. We need to run massive diesel generators for the grid or something for a few months to like keep.
Right. We talked about something else. Let's just go back to this.
Forming security patrols around your property. You know, SHTF doesn't stop just because the weather is bad. You know, you still have to do security. You know, you're still going to have to gather wood if you heat with wood. You know, you're still going to have to shovel snow. you know, you still have to do a variety of different tasks outside, so you need to have the proper clothing, so this way you can go out there in cold weather conditions and extreme cold weather conditions and be able to, you know, do the tasks that are required. So, all right, so the first thing I'm going to go over is clothing, and then from clothing I'm going to get into, you know, other types of gear, like I have these snowshoes here, and other things, but I'm going to focus primarily on clothing and things that you wear. I'm not going to get into other aspects of cold weather gear because that would be beyond the scope of this video. It would take too much time to fit that all into this video. So here we're just going to focus on clothing and gear that you would wear. So the first important thing is you have to make sure that you layer. You know, layering is critical.
Right.
I did a video on winter weather, winter survival, and you know,
And
how
cover
you're
your
supposed to
feet because
dress
that
for the winter time. But
your head and feet.
I think I'm gonna recap that real quick here. So you know, you want to make sure that you have layers of clothing when it's
Right, from the 70s, my late mum taught me this. And I was only a little girl in England. And our family always taught to layer up. You know, we didn't have central heating in those days. We had a coal fire, hot water bottles. But there's no water, hot water. Even if you carefully boil your kettle and store, you get bottles of water generally out of a shop. And that can't be happening. And you've got a solar water. It's a bit like having a camping buckets, got jugs. And then what you could do is I have to go through some of my stuff I've got. But a female's point of view, perspective, limited mobility as well, and other stuff. But anyway, the point is, in England, God forbid, I can't see it affecting England in the extreme. It might come in the back door via the route in China into the tip of America. The Chinese could come in. I'm hearing things for quite a while that, well, England too, actually, that there's a reason why they've been bringing in the illegal immigrants into England for a while now. And a lot of these people put up in hotels, allegedly, I'm going to say the word, of being trained by non-UK military. Why would they want that? For martial law? So I wouldn't be too surprised, because all this is engineered by the globalist elites in history. There's always been this Rockefeller family, banking industry, the families and bloodlines. And there's always been wars, rumours of wars anyway. All this is nothing new. But it's just like, here we are now with technology. We've got the drones, and you've got advancement in satellites. You know, with the radiation comes off the microwaves, the EMFs anyway. So target individuals only know that too well. Excuse me. So like this, you might not know the targeting subject. And by now what's going on in the Middle East, and the bigger picture in history, Satan's army, or Satan's, I've always wanted to target the Israel and moving on, where the birth of Jesus Christ is born, and over in Jerusalem, I might have got that quite wrong actually. My geography is not great about Middle East. Someone I'm aware of that does streams about biblical and faith-based, Christian faith-based videos and streams. He's just flown over to Israel. So he's aware himself. Good luck to him, but I don't know how I can cope over there. I wouldn't want to be over certain areas in that, where the different conflicts can kick off any time. You might not be able to get a flight back to your own country if there's problems happen within days or literally a couple of weeks. But it could tie in, because with Illuminati and their Satanists, they like the dates, don't they? It's like Halloween, the origins of that you might want to look into. But anyway, then you've got, well, I could only go from my point of view of England. So I'll go back to you. I don't know anywhere in my area that has coal fires, unless you've got an old house. If you've got wood burner stove, you're lucky enough to have one of those. We had a really old-fashioned type cooker like that. Wasn't quite wood burner. It doubled as an oven. And I really don't know how that design actually, as a child growing up. I can't remember much. I just remember that's all really we knew until we moved into a modern house, which was ex-military. It was built the large new houses, and one of them we moved into was built for the military, built on Hillside in Devon, and in the houses in the kitchen dining room section, it was a 3-story house built into the earth in the hillside, quite well structured. And in the dining room section there was a cupboard, and if you knocked the wall down there was a shelter built into it going down into the ground. I'd always used to laugh with my late mum at the time, saying I would love to be able to knock the wall down and build an underground, den, for us kids who weren't that young at the time, obviously, or growing. But I remember we had a really good style at the time in those days. Nowadays, it's nothing new, but at the time, it was very modern. And our bath was sunken into the floor, and you had these windows, you pull upwards, you could look at the stars. It was a split level, and it was I had a beautiful view of the river and the sea from the height our house was based on, and the ocean. And it was beautiful, and you can hear the seagulls. It was fresh air, it was lovely. The winter snow wasn't brilliant because on the hillside, but there's a really good, really, really lovely house. It was really, really lovely, and it's a shame that my mum sold that and moved, got a job abroad, and I had no home to live in, so I left my own place shared with my best friend at the time, and personal things happened. I moved up here. But yeah, so go back to the point of the stream. First, it was showing you a couple of people I'm aware of that does street preaching in America, and the 2 homeless preachers. I admire them. I know someone else put me in contact with them, and he's American, and I targeted himself, and so I'm on board for his channel. And so I just said I'll cover their stream, this individual and the individual he's preaching with, young lad. young man, and they just had the demons just had stolen some of their gear and not sure their tent, and they're homeless people, and yet they're still preaching to save souls. And then in the meantime, had a notification. The lad said there's something to update about Russia, so hence that subject changed to the stream subject now. So yeah, there's 2 channels. I'll just showing you, so you can go check them out. I'm ending the stream now. I've got to go. But point being is, if you, my late mum always taught us to be prepared for anything. You know, we grew our own food, self-sufficiency. We learned very basic skills, many subjects related. So it's a bit like, if you look at videos from Great Depression period, and what people had to make do with, well, that is what is going to be happening. You wouldn't believe it in the years we're living in now, in the times of technology. But if the shite hits the fan and the reset financially, and there could be so much going on at once, and people who are not really sort of like this kind of forward thinking might be just panic mode. But I'm also aware of another subject which is in link to all this, which I won't cover this today. And for the December and January period, and that relates to very important subject affecting the earth. But I'll let other people cover that for a moment. So yeah, this Prepper channel playlist, go check it out. It's, even if nothing really happens, it doesn't affect your country, or doesn't affect certain parts of Europe, doesn't affect England, say it doesn't affect America, then well, at least you got some gear to help you through the tough times, and if you got things to keep you warm. And it's always good to have these items, if you haven't already. I mean, you don't always have specific ones that these people show, because they're quite expensive, because I'm aware of that already. But the things I've got, I invested in the past year. Something I've got to reinvest in, and the one that broke on me is a camping lantern. Wind up radio. I was given one of those from my late mum. I was taught that as a whole list for 72-hour list, basically, but really extend it for, like this guy said, for 2 weeks, especially if it's nuclear. I mean, when did we ever have any threat of nuclear radiation? The radiation effects anyway off the EMFs, scalar waves, technology. And you really don't need, you know, what's quoted, you know, nuclear bombs, because they have drones and they have other electricity on these magnet fields, and there's advanced technology to do all their damage, you know, and they can easily take out satellites and cripple countries that way, you know, the electronics side as well. So by the terminology has been used in these mainstream articles, it's just, you know, a lot of this, be careful about fear mongering, because I'm not here, I don't share any fear mongering, because they're all spiritual. Whether you worship Satan in his foot soldiers and his army and doing his dirty deeds, or you're a starseed, you're the light, you know, you're just spiritually awakened. And whatever belief you have, there are the subjects I cover is whether this particular subject, targeting, gaslighting, the technology, the history, because you need to know basics to know where we are today and why it's going on, and practical things about self-preservation and exposing lawfully. There's a lot of subjects, but the important things right now is the basics, everyday things, just to keep you warm, keep you safe. And I really just don't know how these people I've seen today there's certain subjects of the dark occult, which is Satanism, the underground guns, underground bases, military bases around the world has already been prepared for years for all this. It's nothing new. When that guy talked about nuclear underground dams, man, it's much more advanced than that. Every country worldwide has always been planning for this. But it's not just this subject, is it? With the war, potential Third World War. It's nothing just that. It's a bigger issues that they're not letting the public know because they don't want a mass panic. And I'm not here to go into all that myself, but educateyourself.org and have a dig around subjects that might be of interest, positive, and the preparations and spiritually. It's a mixture there, but you get your history and you get the history of the Committee 300, 21 goals of the Illuminati, Knights of Templar, the 13 bloodline families. I always stream that website, which is not mine, so people can, if they care to, just go and research. But anyway, they are just hammering me down, targeting me with frequencies right now. And the radiation effects, you need to get one of these meters to monitor the radiation living with, because electronics give off that frequencies as well. Smart meters, 5G. And then again, more advanced. So anyway, for now, good channels to just have a nose. And for those, yeah, faith, fear. This is what these non-human entities like is. Go on fear, don't they? Anyway, so let's see. Feedback. No, we're not doomed. There's all sorts going on in the world. People are putting really fear-mongering things out there. There's all sorts going on in the world. People are putting really fear-mongering things. So we're not doom and gloom. There is hope. So just be prepared for like sirens over South Korea, severe weather hurricanes. There's other subjects bigger, not just the war, potential war. It's been dragging on, isn't it? Ukraine. I mean, look what England's been funding over into Ukraine. It's all to do with land. It's business and commerce. It's money. It's all it's about, really. Land, business, and all real. You know, these countries and their bloodline families. You don't become president of a country or a nobility or monarchy just like that unless you've got a bloodline from history connected. So whether it's ancient history and bloodline in genealogy or it's past 100 years. So yeah, and then just go on that website and research the subject of those things I might upload will be, say, non-human. Well, come on. What kind of decent living, breathing man or woman individual will create such pathetic, serious effects on humanity of the threats of nuclear? you know, radiation on a massive scale, and how that affect Earth and the lovely nature as well. And think all those beautiful young families and babies are born all parts of the world, not just in Western areas. But there's always a crown. There's always England that started off like Napoleon. You look at that history, the true history, by the way, not what you've been educated and brainwashed in education in mainstream schools. And then you look how from Plymouth and Devon, the Pilgrims set off to conquer America. What happened to those native Indians, the natives of America? Colonization. That was British, you know? That was the crown. The Rothschilds funded Columbia, his travels around different parts of the Commonwealth. If you look how the Commonwealth was originally, established all that period of time ago for industry, for trade, and you investigate how the Indian trade market buy spices and their eastern sort of goods. I mean, it's fascinating really when you look at the basics of the history, because that's all it boils down to, you know. But when you go back on the biblical side, it always goes back to Middle East then, like it is now. So really it is the end of times. So the biblical period, for my learning about the Israelites, and the certain, not quite the Bible, but it's a different version. It was similar, but I've got the pictures in the pictures I've got, and it pinpoints Middle East. The time we're in, what they're plotting, they've always wanted to get their grasps on, the crucial Mount Zion. This the birthplace, the land of Jesus Christ. It's claimed, it's like an old war. It's like Satan's war, really. It's like, I want to go back and make sure this globalist takeover of the world, one world army, policing. I mean, you look at the movies, Majority Report is one movie, and it's thought crime, pre-crime. And it's like, wow, everything's been in plain sight for so long, and yet, what do? Pressures of life is in the way. Everyday things are in the way, and we don't take much attention until it personally affects one. So the signs have always been there, and it's like a massive awakening. Things out there. Massive awakening is like a spiritual context. So bear with me, let me just go back. So prepping is good because power cuts. We had power cuts growing up, so you just learn to adapt. It's not great, but you do learn to adapt. It's very impressive, these people's channels, so you might want to go and check them out.
What's going on, guys?
I'm just going to stop that. Just checking the stream. Okay. Great. You also got a really helpful channel called Christ Forgiveness. It's preaching around London, South UK this week, which is really good. So just going back on this channel. I think the guys in America stopped preaching now. The stream's finished. Wow. So those are the two items.
Arena where they play hockey. A lot of the.
Just stop that for a moment. Let's go into my channel. But there will bigger picture, not just the war, subject related to weather, which I'm not myself going to say about. I'm fully aware of certain things being not told out into the public domain because they don't want the panic. But people are getting videos, getting photos of anonymous. I'm seeing it all the time. So I'll shut this stream down and I might just set one up and it will be just me sleeping just to capture the sound. What's known as demonic. It's like a robotic type sound. It's not my natural sleeping. The subconscious is put, the brain, the subconscious is put to sleep. Human subconscious of the body, meant to be asleep. But it's not natural. It's RM. Remote neural monitoring brain interface technology. I've had to make yesterday's one private because it sounded very demonic. And this is what happens bloody every night. Anyway. There's very, 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 very much demonic times we're living in. So I'm just coming into this channel. Get rid of all the doom and gloom. And then switch off. Try to. Right, I'll go back on that. Close that down. Demons on Earth, the End Times is what the title today. Before I go, I just want to know if somebody's updated on the situation that's going on. So let's just have a note. Some other streamer might have picked it up. Because don't forget, you got the European, America elections coming up, haven't you? So, as well. We Are Change is a very, very, very good YouTube channel because he and others like him is in history has been uncovering what's going on. Just double check. There might be something in the mainstream. Corruption, you see. There's key specific things other people are aware of, similar to I, of what's going on with the solar mass ejections. Okay, so this is relevant. Yeah, an hour ago as I was streaming, everything will split into two. Yeah, you see, be careful about clickbait, about the World War III has begun. Be careful about this because at the moment it's all about Russia accuses UK attacking the Nord Stream. You see, this is all mainstream propaganda coming out to get conquer and divide. They're very good at conquer and divide. Russia accuses UK attacking the Nord Stream gas pipelines. Just take it all. Just what really underneath the headlines. Mainstream media is one about. So, yeah. Distractions, and be aware of anything that appears to be a distraction, because that would take your eye off being self-preservation of about personal things you might need to do. But have no fear, because this is what they want, isn't it? Right, I'll get out of that one. Back to what I was doing. And I'm signing out from here. Take it easy.